New year means new beginnings. Hello tarantula lovers, I'm Alex and you're watching Tarantula Haven. Yes, this is my first video of the new year, so before I say anything else, I'd like to wish everybody a happy new year. And yeah, you know, it's just one of those things where I did not put any videos out. I took a little break over the holidays. I think it's been over a month since I've put a video out. And I actually had people contacting me, asking me if I was okay, if I had quit YouTube, and so on and so forth. So the answer is no, I have not quit YouTube. I am making videos still. I just couldn't get anything done over the holidays. You know, there's that saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Well, I guess I'm going to hell because I had all kinds of good intentions and they just didn't pan out. I promised a story for the Christmas spiders and so on, and I had been working on that and I really wanted to put that out, but I just couldn't get all the resources together and it fell through. I couldn't get it done in time, so I felt really, really bad about that. And I even promised a whole bunch of people shout outs and I lost the list of the people that I was going to shout out to, so I apologize for that. If I owed you a shout out, this is my chance to give you a shout out, but unfortunately I don't have all the names, so I'll try to find that and I'll try to get that together and maybe I'll do it at a later date. So yeah, that's just, you know, what has happened with me. So I just felt bad about it, and I figured I just threw it all out and didn't even worry about making any videos, and I figured when I was ready I'd put one out. So as it happens, the month of December seemed to be molting month for tarantulas, and it's still going on. And I don't know if you are experiencing this, if you are a tarantula keeper, but all over Facebook, all the different groups that I belong to, everybody's talking about how all the tarantulas are molting. So that's one of those things that you might want to consider asking yourself: do tarantulas molt seasonally? Or do they molt periodically, as far as, like, you know, because I know slings molt probably once a month or so. Older tarantulas, it takes a lot longer for them to molt. Some of them will go a year without molting. And but it just seems like at one given time, they all have a tendency to molt at the same time. And it's kind of a neat phenomenon because you hear about it from all over Facebook, all different people, and this is occurring all over the place. So it just so happens that as I was feeding my tarantulas, I happened to catch a few tarantulas molting. They'd either molted or they were in the process of molting, or they were almost molting. So that is the focus of this video. I have two really cool molts for you today, and this will be a molting time-lapse video. One of them, I happened to notice that the tarantula was making itself a little web hammock, and this is my Poecilotheria metallica, otherwise known as the Cootie Sapphire. And it was a really neat thing because I had never witnessed one of them. Oh, my birds are flying around. I had never witnessed one of them actually molting before. I always find them afterward. But this one was in the process of making a hammock. And this is an arboreal tarantula. So arboreal tarantulas don't go down to the bottom and they don't make a little web mat. They actually make themselves a web hammock. And I caught it right as it was making the web hammock, and I caught the actual molt. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this one, and then I'll talk about the second one. Wasn't that really cool? The whole thing with the heartbeat, and I'd never thought that that you could see a tarantula's heartbeat before it molts, because most of the time in most of the videos that I've seen while a tarantula is molting, you see the heartbeat after it's already come out of its molt and the tarantula is still soft and you can see the heart beating there. But it never occurred to me the tarantula's abdomen is soft, so you could see the heartbeat of the tarantula while it's still in its hardened exoskeleton. It's just that it happens a little bit slowly and we don't really detect it with our eye, but when you speed things up in a time lapse, there it is. You can see the heart beating right there on the abdomen. So I thought that was a really cool thing and a neat learning experience for me, because it's just one of those things I never really thought about. But yes, you can see a tarantula's heartbeat even before it comes out of its molt while it's still in its hardened exoskeleton. So interesting thing. And it was really cool to see it molt in the web hammock and how it clings to the side and then it drops down into the hammock and catches itself. That was a really, really cool experience. So the next one that I will show you, this one is my Hysterocrates gigas, however you want to pronounce it. And this one, I was in the process of feeding it. I opened the lid and it was sitting out. I never see this tarantula sitting out. In fact, this is the best view that I've ever had of it since I've gotten it, because this is a fossorial species. It spends all of its time underneath the substrate in its burrow, and I only see legs and parts of it here and there. But this was the first time that it was sitting out in the open, and I got so excited, and I looked, and it had a web mat. So this is a terrestrial tarantula. So you're experiencing both. You saw the arboreal, you're now going to experience a terrestrial, which you're probably used to anyway. And this one was another really cool one. I got more angles on this one than I did on the previous one. On the Poecilotheria metallica, I had to go to bed. It was getting really, really late and I just couldn't stay up. But I actually did wake up and come check on it and stuff periodically. So I managed to capture the full thing. I just didn't get any really good angles from multiple angles on it. But this one I did. I was able to capture a couple of angles, and it's a really cool molt as well. So take a look at this one and I'll come back after. have it, the Hysterocrates gigas molt. And this one was also an interesting molt in that it did not flip over on its back. Normally when a tarantula molts, it will flip over onto that web mat on its back. This one did not. It stayed on its ventral side. And I'm wondering if it was because I interrupted it while I went to feed it and I opened up the lid and there it was, and whether it was a thing where it felt uncomfortable and didn't want to expose itself or what. But maybe it's just the way it worked out. I'm not really sure. But I have seen it where if a tarantula gets interrupted, it will flip over from its back onto its ventral side, and it will continue its molt on its ventral side. So sometimes it's maybe because the tarantula feels uneasy and it gets disturbed, but I don't know if that was the case here. But I also thought it was interesting that even though as it was coming out of its molt, it chose not to flip over on its back where they usually will twitch their legs as they pump their hemolymph into the rest of their body to kind of fill themselves back out. This one's continued to stay on its ventral side, and it kind of crawled and then fell into one of its burrows, and that's where it stayed on its back and pumped the hemolymph into its legs. So, just an interesting molt altogether because it is a fossorial species. I did have a light on it. So those are things that could have been factors into why it stayed on its ventral side and completely did its molt that way. So, another thing that adds to the question, is that something that I caused while I was recording it and putting a light on it and had cameras around it and so on. So, just interesting stuff. So that's it for me today. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry I hadn't put out anything. I think I am going to resolve not to say in advance that, yes, this is coming up on my next video, because if something falls apart, that makes me feel really, really bad. And it has happened to me several times, and I hate doing that. I know that you're probably sitting there anticipating what the next video is going to be, and then when it doesn't happen, that makes me look really bad. So I'm not going to do that from here on out unless I absolutely positively know that it is a fact and it is going to happen. I'm just going to keep that little tidbit to myself. So there are some changes coming up to the Tarantula Haven. That's something definitely worth looking forward to. And that's it. I'm going to wrap it up right here. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. If you want to support this channel, I have a Redbubble store where I sell Tarantula Haven merchandise. Any of the proceeds from the merchandise will go directly to help grow and support this channel. Until next time, keep loving them tarantulas.